When we feel a void inside, our first instinct is to fill it. With distractions, comfort, or entertainment. We scroll through our phones, chase relationships, buy things we don't need and call it happiness. But here lies the illusion: pleasure is temporary, fulfillment is eternal. Pleasure is like sugar. It gives a quick rush and leaves you craving more. Fulfillment, however, is nourishment. It strengthens you from within. Many people spend their lives chasing moments of pleasure, thinking they are searching for happiness. But in reality, they are escaping themselves. True fulfillment doesn't come from adding more to your life. It comes from realizing what truly matters and removing what doesn't. When you feel empty, your natural response is to fill that space with something that gives you an instant sense of pleasure. You might reach for your phone, scroll through social media, eat your favorite food, or buy something new. For a moment, you feel lighter, entertained, distracted, maybe even happy. But soon after, the feeling fades, and you are left with that same familiar emptiness again. This happens because what you are filling yourself with are temporary experiences designed to excite your senses, not nourish your spirit. Pleasure and fulfillment may look similar on the surface, but they are completely different in depth and effect. Pleasure is like a spark. It flares up and vanishes quickly. Fulfillment is like a flame. It burns slowly, quietly, and keeps you warm for a long time. Many people spend their whole lives chasing pleasure, believing it will lead them to happiness. They confuse the rush of excitement with genuine peace. But the more they chase it, the more dependent they become on the next thrill to feel alive. When life becomes a constant cycle of seeking stimulation, you forget how to be still. You forget how to be at peace with simple moments. The world around you encourages this cycle. It sells you comfort, entertainment, and escape, but not contentment. The advertisements, the influencers, the trends, they all whisper the same message. If you get this, you'll finally feel complete. Yet every time you do, you realize that the satisfaction never lasts. The emptiness returns because pleasure was never meant to fill the deeper space of your being. Fulfillment, on the other hand, comes from doing something that resonates with your heart. It comes from connection, growth, and contribution. It's found in moments when you live in harmony with your values, when your actions reflect what truly matters to you. Fulfillment doesn't depend on intensity or novelty. It depends on meaning. It's what you feel when you spend time with someone you love without distraction, when you help someone in need, when you create something beautiful, when you overcome a challenge that once seemed impossible. These moments don't give you a rush. They give you depth. They don't excite your senses. They feed your soul. To stop feeling empty, you must learn to differentiate between what only excites you and what truly fulfills you. Ask yourself why you do what you do. Are you chasing a feeling, or are you living your truth? Every time you choose pleasure over purpose, you are feeding your body but starving your soul. The emptiness you feel is not a sign that life is empty. It's a sign that you are looking in the wrong place for meaning. Pleasure asks, what can I get right now? Fulfillment asks, what can I give that will last? One is short-lived, the other eternal. When you begin to live with this awareness, you stop chasing temporary highs and start building lasting peace. The truth is, you will never fill the emptiness within by consuming more. You will only fill it by becoming more. One of the deepest reasons you feel empty is because you have become disconnected from who you truly are. Somewhere along the path of growing up, you learn to hide certain parts of yourself. You learn to act a certain way, talk a certain way, even think a certain way, all to be accepted by others. You began to shape yourself according to the expectations of family, society, friends, and the world around you. Little by little, the person you were born to be got buried under layers of approval, seeking behavior. You started to play roles. Roles of being successful, of being strong, of being perfect. But underneath all those layers, your true self was quietly fading away. When your actions no longer match the voice within, when your outer world and inner truth become separate, you begin to feel lost. That feeling of emptiness is not a lack of something outside you. It is a disconnection from the life within you. The modern world constantly pulls you away from yourself. Every day, you are bombarded with messages telling you who you should be, how you should look, and what you should achieve to be worthy. It's easy to lose yourself in the noise, to start believing that your value is defined by comparison. You measure your worth by how well you fit into someone else's idea of success. But deep down, a quiet unease begins to grow, because your soul knows it is not being lived fully. You start to feel like a stranger in your own life, trapped in a version of yourself that doesn't feel authentic. That is the root of emptiness. It's not about lacking something. It's about losing connection with your essence. To reconnect with yourself, you must first find the courage to be honest about what feels real and what feels forced. Sit in silence and listen, not to the noise of the world, but to the whispers within. Ask yourself, who am I beyond my name, my job, my achievements, my image? You might discover that the person you've been showing to the world is only a mask built for survival, not a reflection of your truth. This realization can be uncomfortable, but it is the beginning of freedom. The emptiness you feel is your inner self calling for attention, asking you to stop pretending and start being. It's asking you to remove the layers that were never truly yours and return to the simplicity of your genuine nature. The more you act from authenticity, the more alive you begin to feel. When your choices align with your values, your energy flows naturally. You no longer live in conflict with yourself. You no longer need to impress or prove anything, because being yourself becomes enough. Life feels lighter, clearer, and more meaningful. The emptiness disappears not because you filled it with something new, but because you finally reconnected with what was always there. The truth is, peace doesn't come from becoming someone else. It comes from remembering who you are. The feeling of emptiness often deepens when you depend too much on external validation. From a young age, you are taught that your value comes from how others see you. Your grades, your appearance, your success, your popularity. You learn to chase approval as if it were the source of happiness. Every compliment gives you a brief sense of worth, and every criticism takes it away. Without realizing it, you start building your identity around how others perceive you. You begin to perform instead of live, to impress instead of express. You start saying yes when you mean no, smiling when you feel broken, and pretending to be fine when you're not. This constant effort to be accepted disconnects you from your true self and leaves you feeling hollow. You become like an actor trapped in a role, admired by the audience but unknown to yourself. When your self-worth depends on the opinions of others, you give them control over your peace. If someone praises you, you feel good. If they ignore you, you feel invisible. Your emotions rise and fall based on their reactions. That is not freedom. It's a prison built from insecurity. You begin to live your life trying to meet expectations that were never yours to begin with. You work hard not for joy but for recognition. You post not to share but to be seen. The emptiness grows because you are always performing for love instead of living in love. No matter how much praise you receive, it never feels like enough, because deep down, you know it's not coming from a place of truth. To break free from this cycle, you must learn to give yourself the validation you've been seeking from others. This means recognizing your own worth without needing anyone else to confirm it. It means understanding that your value is not something to be earned. It already exists within you. When you start to see yourself clearly, your self-respect becomes stronger than your desire for approval. You stop chasing acceptance, and instead, you begin to accept yourself. This doesn't mean you stop caring about others. It means you stop allowing their opinions to define who you are. The more you depend on yourself for validation, the more peaceful and grounded you become. When you no longer seek constant affirmation from the outside, something beautiful happens inside. You start living more authentically. You speak your truth without fear, make choices based on what feels right, and surround yourself with people who value your essence, not your image. You realize that real confidence is not loud, it's calm. It doesn't need to prove itself, it simply exists. The emptiness fades because you no longer need the world to fill you. You have learned to fill yourself. The moment you stop performing and start being is the moment you feel whole again. True happiness is not when everyone approves of you, but when you approve of yourself. One of the main reasons people feel empty is because they avoid silence and self-reflection. In today's world, silence has become uncomfortable. We are surrounded by constant noise. Notifications, music, conversations, endless scrolling. We fill every quiet moment with distraction because we fear what might surface if we stop and listen. The mind has become addicted to stimulation. When silence appears, we rush to cover it. But silence is not the enemy, it is a mirror. It shows us the truth we often avoid. The pain, the loneliness, the confusion we've buried beneath the noise. Avoiding silence might protect you from discomfort temporarily, but it also keeps you from understanding yourself. The emptiness you feel grows louder because it's trying to remind you that something inside needs attention, not avoidance. When you don't take time to reflect, you drift through life unconsciously. You react instead of respond, repeat patterns without awareness, and make choices that don't serve your growth. You may work hard, stay busy, and seem productive, but deep inside, you remain disconnected. Reflection allows you to pause and see clearly what's happening within you. It helps you notice your emotions before they control you. It reveals what truly matters and what doesn't. Without it, you keep running in circles, chasing goals, relationships, and pleasures that don't satisfy the deeper longing of your soul. The world teaches you to move faster, but your inner world needs you to slow down. Stillness is not wasted time. It's where you realign with your truth. When you sit in silence, at first it can feel heavy. The mind resists because it wants control. Old memories, regrets, and fears may arise, and you might want to escape again. But if you stay, if you breathe and allow the silence to hold you, something begins to shift. You start to see yourself with honesty. You recognize your wounds without judgment. You realize that emptiness is not a void to be feared, but a doorway to understanding. It's a space where healing begins. Self-reflection gives you clarity about what you are missing, not from life, but from within. It helps you reconnect with what you've neglected, your needs, your peace, your purpose. Through silence, you also rediscover your strength. When you can sit alone and be at peace with your thoughts, the world loses its power to control you. You no longer need constant noise to feel alive. You begin to enjoy solitude instead of fearing it. You learn to listen to the quiet wisdom within you, which has always been there, waiting for your attention. The more you practice stillness, the more grounded you become. The emptiness fades because you are no longer running away from yourself. You have learned to face the space within you and fill it with awareness, understanding, and presence. Silence, once frightening, becomes your greatest teacher. It's in the quiet moments that you finally hear the truth your heart has been trying to tell you all along. The deepest reason many people feel empty is that they have forgotten their purpose and meaning. Life becomes repetitive when you live only to survive, to work, to earn, to consume, to entertain yourself. You might wake up every day and do what is expected, but inside there's a quiet voice asking, what is this all for? That question doesn't go away because your soul is designed to seek meaning. When you live disconnected from that purpose, no amount of comfort or success can make you feel complete. You may have everything people consider valuable, yet still sense that something essential is missing. This emptiness is not a flaw, it's a signal. It's life's way of reminding you that you are meant for more than routine. You are meant to grow, to give, and to live in alignment with something greater than yourself. Purpose doesn't always mean a grand mission or career. It's not limited to being famous, rich, or recognized. It's the quiet but powerful feeling that your existence matters, that your actions have meaning beyond your own needs. It can be found in small, simple things: helping someone, creating something beautiful, learning, teaching, or just living with kindness. The reason people lose touch with purpose is that they get lost in comparison. They measure their worth by society's definition of success instead of listening to their inner calling. They believe meaning must come from achievements, but meaning is not found through status. It's found through contribution. When you stop asking, what can I get from life? And start asking, what can I give to live? Everything changes. Living with purpose gives direction to your energy. It transforms ordinary actions into something sacred. Even small tasks feel meaningful when they connect to something bigger. Without purpose, you drift like a ship without a compass, moving but not arriving. You might chase one goal after another, only to feel empty once it's achieved. That is because goals without meaning can bring success but not satisfaction. Purpose, on the other hand, gives you strength during hard times. It gives you resilience when you fail and peace when you succeed. It reminds you that every challenge has a lesson and every moment has value. To rediscover your purpose, you must turn inward and ask yourself what truly makes you feel alive. What inspires you? What kind of impact do you want to leave? What activities make you lose track of time because they bring you joy or peace? Your answers will not come from others. They will rise from within in moments of honesty and reflection. Once you begin to live in alignment with your purpose, the emptiness fades naturally. You wake up with a sense of direction, not just routine. You begin to live not only for yourself, but as part of something larger. And in that realization, you find what you were missing all along: meaning. The truth is, fulfillment is not about doing more. It's about remembering why you do it. When you live with purpose, you stop surviving and start truly living.